Broads Media.
All right, it's the 24 hours later pod. Do I feel better? Absolutely not. No. Does the 2-minute report change how I feel? No, not at all. I didn't need the league to tell me what was screwed up. That's why I spent 35 minutes in my basement ripping them apart after the game was over last night. I knew that. I know Tyrese Maxey was held. I knew there were fouls. I know they missed the timeout call by Nick Nurse. The only one that got slid in there was OG Anunoby, I guess, with the 3-second violation, as if anybody was paying attention to him and what the hell was happening there. I was like, all right, I guess it was even worse than we anticipated. Somehow, some way, the refs actually sucked more than we thought. Think about that. With everything that transpired, the refs actually are worse when it's all said and done after reviewing the tape. What a disgrace. There's nothing you can do about it, unfortunately, but I do want to defend the portion of the fan base that took the side of, no, this is the once in a blue moon where you do play the card of you got robbed. You got robbed. Now, unfortunately, that gets thrown around so loosely that it devalues it. But when it does happen, and the only one that comes to my mind that relates to this is the New Orleans Saints and the Los Angeles Rams. So that level of egregious is what I watched happen. And when it's to that level, there's no other description other than you got screwed. I mean, it is what it is. You have to move forward. You have to try and figure this thing out. But it's as if this organization can't do anything right. I'm going to throw a curveball here and go over to the whole Joel Embiid after the game with those quotes and the way that his demeanor was in the locker room. Remember I mentioned that nobody wears sunglasses after they get poked in the eye? They just rub their eye for maybe 45 seconds and then they're good? Yeah, something's not right with Embiid's face. And when he's trying to convince the entire fan base that we're good and this series isn't over because we are the better team, and he's looking down and hiding his eyes the entire time, they're hiding something. They're hiding something. There's visual evidence of his eyes not being in the right direction. When they're showing him close up at the free throw line, people are starting to snag some videos and show you how his one eye's starting to go a different way. He's trying to get a grasp of his sight mid-game. Something's not right. So Joel tries to do the right thing. The intentions were there to inspire the city, to inspire his teammates, but they just can't do anything right that even that backfires. Because now we're questioning how you could even make those comments while shrugging your shoulders, being slumped over, and half-assing it with zero conviction. It doesn't make any sense. There's no way that anybody would follow that. But he's just trying to do everything he possibly can. And he feels that trying to get the fellas going by showing confidence and showing that he believes in all of them is the right move. And I don't disagree with that. But he's so banged up, it's not working. Kyle Lowry should have called timeout. Nick Nurse maybe could have done it with more fire and more intensity, but he still should have been recognized with the timeout at some point throughout that entire sequence. The strangest part of this entire series is the New York Knicks are winning because of their role players. Their star, Jalen Brunson, has not even been welcomed to the party yet. The Sixers are getting everything and some from Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, and we are begging for Kelly Oubre. We're begging for Buddy Hield. We're begging for Tobias Harris. We're begging for somebody. So which is sustainable? You would think just from the surface that eventually the Sixers will get their help. Because if you stay true to your game plan, if you're Nick Nurse and you're asking all of these role players to beat you over 7 games, it's not enough. And reality is the series should be 1-1. I won't say 2-0, I'll say 1-1. But Josh Hart, Hartenstein, and those buckets in the paint, that didn't beat you. I mean, it physically did not beat you. The Sixers should have won the game. They won that game. So that plan by Nick Nurse to take away Jalen Brunson, who shoots 8 of 20 plus, just gross shooting because of what Tobias Harris did late, because of the size. I watched Joel Embiid lock him up by the perimeter in one sequence. I'm going, oh, Joel with 1 knee, 7 foot, guarding that man. He's insane. He's absolutely insane. Can the other guys beat you? It should be 1-1, and you could actually talk yourself into saying they should be 2-0. At some point, if you're Nick Nurse, do you have to admit that, okay, they're answering the bell. We dared them to answer the bell, but at some point I have to respond and see if I take away some of the ways we're defending Jalen Brunson, can we stay true and still hold him to a respectful shooting night so we can still try and shut down maybe a Josh Hart from shooting? Because I do believe that there's a difference between saying I'm okay with living in a world where Josh Hart takes some open threes and then it being blatantly obvious where the guy is preparing to knock down every shot because the game plan is we disrespect you so much to the nth degree that we are going to say, beat us, bitch. You know, like those are two different things. Saying I'll live with an open shot and I'll live with that person getting the ball potentially with a few swings around the perimeter if we play our defense right on Jalen Brunson, and then he knows we're just going to leave him open, so wide open that he can shoot these wide open threes with the killer instinct of, I won't let the Sixers game plan work. You know what I'm saying? It has reached a point where it's so glaring that he has responded and knows it and is aware of it. And imagine if there's some thought of a closeout, some thought of a defender in his face. He's not even questioning it. He knows he's being dared, and he's responded. So is there any point throughout this 7-game series where Nick Nurse moves off of that, or he still believes in it deep down? And I kind of understand believing in it deep down because even Knicks fans know that they're proud to be in that position. They feel their team has worked hard enough to be in that position. But do they believe that their team is playing? They play scrappy. Their brand of basketball, yes. Rebounding, scrappy, toughness. They have that energy for sure. But this isn't what the Knicks expected to see. They expected Jalen Brunson. They expected a different style. Still scrappy and all, but the execution is not where they wanted. They like where they're at. They like the results, but I don't know if they love the eye candy, and I don't know if they expect if this team plays like this, if Jalen Brunson can't ball out in a later round, that they can just ride Josh Hart and Hartenstein to the promised land. You know what I'm saying? So just something to think about. And I believe that the matchup is rough for Jalen Brunson. I think the kid's a stud. I think the kid's a flat-out star in this league. He's really, really good. And I just want to put it on notice here that Tyrese Maxey is outperforming him. The jumps that he has already leaped to is wild for Tyrese Maxey. He's outperforming someone who I deem as a star. And it's not surprising because we can see the future and know that Tyrese Maxey will be a face of a franchise. He will be that dog. He is that guy. He is. So it doesn't surprise me, but being a 23, 22, 24-year-old guard and getting thrown into the fire is no joke. Jalen Brunson is struggling to do it. Tyrese Maxey deserved a fat W yesterday, In that fourth quarter, the dude was pulling up from the logo, cashing in. The only thing that sucks is maybe him going the timeout instead of trying to pass the ball, and that final possession, chucking it up to Joel Embiid. But these are, I mean, not little things. Calling the timeout instead of losing the ball isn't little. It's pretty massive. There's definitely areas to clean up. Kyle Lowry is a proven winner, and in that moment, of course, because it's the 76ers, he's not thinking it properly, but at the same time, the team did enough to get a whistle, get a stop, and if you are a dope and believe that maybe there was a push off on Tyrese Maxey, you do realize that stops the game there, and that entire sequence. If you're going to bitch and say there shouldn't have been any sort of holding at all, I mean, it's so funny, because if you ask Giants fans if Bradbury should have been called for a holding in the Super Bowl, you get the answer. Of course, you can't change the way you call the game just because it was at the end of the Super Bowl. A hold's a hold. Well, go fuck yourself then, because there's no way in hell that what Jalen Brunson did was not a foul. It's a foul every single time. Every time it's a foul. It's crazy to me. It's criminal what happened out there on the basketball floor. Remember, multiple guys from Villanova, right? Tim Donahue. Go look at where he's from. Go look at where he went to school. If you don't know who Tim Donahue is, he's the corrupt ref that got in big trouble for getting involved in all the nasty stuff during the NBA playoffs. Just saying. But Tyrese Maxey's out there cooking and frying up. And Jalen Brunson's going through what I feel is a normal learning curve for someone trying to take that next step in the NBA playoffs. And he's going up against a tough matchup. I think the Sixers just calls him hell. There's a lot of other teams, and sometimes it's unfortunate that it is all matchup-based, and that matchup could essentially be in the first round of the playoffs. But if Brunson was doing this in the second round after dropping 40-plus 3 times in a series against, I don't know, some bad team at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, maybe there's just a different tone surrounding Jalen Brunson and the way the Knicks have played. But anyway, that's not really insanely important. What's important, though, is Maxey's a serious machine, and it's happening very quickly. You know, he was on tonight. Sorry, I almost played the clip a little too premature. But Tyrese Maxey was on TNT discussing a lot of different things, but he was asked about that play last night, and just listen to the locker room presence at that young age that's happening right here. It's amazing to see his growth. Today's not the day to go goo goo gaga, okay? I'm aware. I don't feel it either, but for what it's worth, okay? The fact that Tyrese Maxey is answering these questions, he wins most improved in the league, by the way. Kudos to him. Special. I keep using that word. Special kid. Special. So he talks about it, but listen to the professionalism and just, you know, just a savvy answer. It's a savvy answer from a young kid. Here we go.
Hey, Tyrese, while we have you here, looking back on last night, and everybody has seen those closing seconds of that game at the Garden, we've seen the NBA's 2-minute report now indicating that a foul should have been called on Jalen Brunson for pulling on your jersey, and also Josh Hart for the contact over there in the corner. Okay, so that comes out, but on the day after, what does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be strong. I gotta be strong with the ball. I gotta be able to, like, when I get on the floor, I gotta be able to just hug it and call a timeout. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, it happened. We gotta let it go. I mean, we can't dwell on it now. If we dwell on it, then, you know, in a couple days we'll be down 0-3. We don't want to be down 0-3. You know what I mean? We know that we can still win this series. We got to go out there and prove that to everybody, not just ourselves. And it starts today, letting that go, and then tomorrow at practice, and then as soon as the ball goes up on Thursday, being a tougher team, not just not just physically, but mentally as well. I mean, we still had chances to win the game. I got my layup blocked, and then, we missed a three at the end to tie. So we can't dwell on that. We can't leave the games in other people's hands. We got to go out there and take it.
Now that's just outstanding. I can bitch. I can cry. I can be extremely aggravated and lose sleep thinking about my basketball team. But for Maxey, he's already worried about other things, right? I mean, that's just the way his brain's going. I'm worried about how my layup got blocked. I'm worried about how I didn't do a good enough job for that final three, as he brought up. Those are the details. Like, I'm a sponge. I'm going to absorb this, and I'm going to continue to get better insanely every single day I'm on the floor. And that's how you have to think about it if you're in that room. I will spend 48, probably even longer than that amount of hours, not understanding how it is physically possible to be that garbage at your job, for the league to review it and say, yeah, actually, you were wrong, but we can't do anything about it. I thought I'd be doing better today, honestly. I thought the 24 hours later, it's the therapy episode. I got out a lot of my frustration last night before bed. No, it's replaying. I saw the clips when Maxey was just speaking. It's insufferable thinking about how that game ended. Iconic. That goes down as one of the worst moments in history of the NBA. And it happened to us. So game plan, this, that, the other. How can I question Nick Nurse and him daring people to shoot when you should be tied 1-1 and maybe even up 2-0? Do you quit on it? Do you eventually have to try something different? Or do you think you're just getting unlucky? But you have your mindset right. You have your plan right. The ref screwed up. I do wish, though, that there was some more sense of urgency at the end. They got it in. I thought they got it in to save their ass. I wish it was cleaner, though. It should be more crisp. But they did sneak it in there and still got boned. Let's take a listen to Stephen A. Smith on what he saw from the refs.
I think that the Sixers were robbed, and I'm a Knicks fan. We know this. Yeah. Fair is fair. And here's what I'm saying. Tyrese Maxey was fouled.
Yeah.
I mean, you see me sitting courtside. I mean, it's what is it, 3 feet, Tim, to my left? I mean, he got slapped at least 2 to 3 times. Listen, I am ecstatic that the New York Knicks won. We know who I'm rooting for, okay? I'm unapologetic about that. But fair is fair.
Yeah, I mean, he's just telling it how it is. I don't like today hearing you're a crybaby, you're a loser. And I'm not talking about other fan bases. I don't give a damn about other fan bases. I'm talking strictly the internal battle between Sixers fans, because there are a portion of fans that don't like the, quote, excuse. And I agree that 99% of the time when somebody complains about a charge or a ticky-tack foul or, getting your hands caught in the cookie jar, whatever. There's bad calls, and yes, they do sway things and this and that. But I'm not talking about the general missed call. This isn't a standard, just random NBA missed call that happens normally throughout 48 minutes that I understand if you compile them all, it does have a significant impact on the game, but you live with those. These you don't live with. And when I say these, I'm putting it in the category of NFC Championship game, Saints-Rams. Go ahead and go back and watch that play if you forget how abysmal it truly was of a non-call. I feel this falls in the 1% where you are allowed to throw everything out the window and for a couple of days say, yo, you fucked us. You absolutely fucked us. Because they did. They did. You could say, well, they could have done this, they could have done that. At the end of the day, they did what the rules are in basketball to win the game. Like, they actually did. Forget what happened after this and that. They called the timeout. This isn't a block that was called a charge. You know what I'm saying? I see that differently, at least. Maybe not everybody sees it that way, obviously. But I don't get that side of it from a Sixers fan level. I know that people buy into the screw job way too frequently, which makes it, when it actually happens, for these refs to get off the hook, which is a shame. And I'm not going to let that happen. See, I can't sleep well at night after a loss like this. And then you double that. I can't sleep well at night times 2 if the refs just get off scot-free, without any sort of payment, nothing. They could just get off. No criticism, no nothing. No harassment. Fair harassment, I'm saying. Nothing. No. That dude deserves to get ripped. Crushed. Beat up. And investigated. See if he has to go to jail. I mean that. All right. We'll go to the Anytime hotline. We'll hear from you. Let's do it.
Yeah, what's up, bros? Sixers 1,000%, not even close, deserve to lose that game. 100%. I don't give a shit about the refs. I really do not care. I think the refs is a lame-ass excuse, even though they were horrible the whole game. Completely understand. You have a 5-point lead with 30 seconds left in the game. You should win the game. Absolutely. I mean, you could say Kyle Lowry missing 2 crucial free throws late. He went 1 for 2 on the free throw line late, and that definitely does not help. But I want to point to one thing really quick. Well, actually, I'll say 2 things. The inbound pass to Maxey. Why didn't just Maxey just stay on the floor and just have DiVincenzo, basically like jump on top of him? Then it would have been a jump ball, and it would have been a way better scenario than him trying to make something out of nothing.
I'm going to hit timeout right here, and I'll let him continue. But think about what you're asking, right? Instead of, and this is just why I can't relate to that mindset. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but my brain doesn't work that way. So you're asking why Maxey doesn't stay on the ground and then magically force DiVincenzo to jump on top of him. So we're expecting the refs to make that call properly when they didn't make the original calls, which is absurd to begin with. You would never think that they'd screw those calls up, yet somehow they screwed those calls up. But you're asking for that to happen instead of asking the people who get paid the money to ref to call the right call, to do their job. You see what I'm saying? It's not an excuse. This is that level of incompetence. You're going to have bang plays at first base with umpires that they have to review and get it right. There's going to be all these situations. There's going to be a holding call in the NFL that should have maybe never been called. I can live with those. I really can. Look, those stink and those suck, but those aren't this. This is national storylines. This is everyone in the world, instead of dissecting the game, are referring back to one controversial call. The only reason it gets to this heavy of a dissection is when it reaches this level of horrendous. It's brutal. But I'll let you continue.
And then all of a sudden, you get the kick out, misses the 3, gets the rebound, kicks it back out to DiVincenzo, drills the 3. The second thing is, there's 4 fucking Sixers underneath the basket. How the fuck does Hartenstein, or whatever the hell his name is, get that rebound? That's just effort. That's just effort. There was Tobias there. There was Batum there. Even though the rebound wasn't on that side of the rim, there was Embiid there. He could have boxed out. There were 4 Sixers in the vicinity, and a Knick player comes down with the ball. That's just effort. That is 100% effort. That's effort. And that's just horrible. They absolutely deserve to lose that game. 100% deserve to lose that game. So don't give me something about the refs or whatever.
I will.
People might call in and say that stuff. I don't give a damn. You cannot blow that lead, and you make such crucial mistakes late in the game. My God, this is why the Sixers have not been to the conference finals since 2001. It's why we haven't been to the finals since 2001. That's why we haven't won a championship in 41 years.
I can't disagree with you there. And look, I respect your passion for your take, so I'll give you a round of applause for that. But it's not as if you're wrong. See, it's not like I'm disagreeing with they still failed afterwards and they collapsed. And this organization forever, no matter who's plugged in place, Kyle Lowry, proven winner, fails here with the Sixers after actually having a spectacular game and doing fantastic energy-like things. He makes a big mental error. Nick Nurse is a great coach and very, very strong on the sidelines. He wasn't adamant enough. Tyrese Maxey, young and made a very terrible error there. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And then go back to Game 6 with James Harden. They couldn't get the ball to Joel Embiid's hands at home in Game 6, and then they flopped miserably in Game 7. The Atlanta Hawks series, Ben Simmons, the whole thing. No matter who's in place, this organization fails to close out a game, close out series. We never feel comfortable in the final minutes of action because when has it been consistently shut down? It has not, so I get it. But that doesn't mean that the level of egregious that happened is allowed to not be criticized first. Because even with the mistakes made prior to the 47-minute and 30-second mark, the Sixers were up. Maxey dominated the fourth. Embiid, fantastic. And they were winning the game without even their role players. They still, even through the pain and suffering of some stretches and whatever, you dominated with Maxey in the fourth to gain the lead, and you did everything right by the skin of their teeth. It was just done, but they did everything right. The people who are supposed to then do their job failed miserably. I just can't see it any other way. Oh, man. Now, the one thing about Hartenstein, though, and all that stuff is, look, the Knicks are relentless. They don't stop. They grind. They're a pain in the ass. They always find boards. I'm not trying to diminish that. But there is a part of me that just looks at Embiid, for example, right? And Hartenstein's job is what? I mean, to make it a pain for Embiid, right? To make it hell, make him work, make him earn it, that type of stuff. And it's not to be the be-all, end-all. I don't know if I'm explaining this the right way. Joel Embiid has so much to do every night, and he's doing it with one eye and one leg. It sucks that every year I'm saying that, but he's doing it with one eye and one leg every single postseason. Hartenstein has go be energy guy. Joel Embiid has be the anchor defensively. Let's run our offense through you. Let you be the dominating force and be Joel Embiid. Is there anything to that? Maybe not. Maybe that's me reaching. I don't know. But I think there's something to that. Where we point out a Hartenstein because, well, he doesn't have to do what Embiid does. He doesn't have to deal with that. So a scrappy old board here and a shot in the paint 5 times. All right, whoop-de-damn do. He's got it a lot easier. I guess he also has to defend Embiid, which is a tall task. But it's still not what Embiid has to do. But all great players have to deal with that to some degree. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. All right, we'll go back to the phones.
Another double doink. Well, it was more like just a doink. But why? Every fucking series. Every single series. Something, we had it in the bag. And by the way, where's the foul on Maxey? Because that was egregious. They were literally holding him like a child.
No doubt they were. Yeah, they absolutely were. It was so obvious. It was painfully obvious. So I'll have to flush it by Thursday. But God forbid I'm not over it yet. I thought I was more over it than I am. I guess I'm not. This is all part of me trying to do my best to put it in the rearview mirror. I need this. This is my therapy. This helps me. So, it is what it is. I appreciate you listening to my open therapy sessions. But this is how I operate. This is how I do it. I got to get it out because Thursday rolls around and it's put up or shut up time. You have to go back to New York too. Anything else? Jeez. Scared shitless. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for kicking it with me, and I'll catch you all on the next one.